In the original pitch, Operation Phantasm focused heavily on the mental repercussions associated with combat. To emphasize this point, we decided to create a system in which each character had corresponding enemies that would affect that character's mental status. As we moved forward with the design, we decided to simplify the entire system and focus more on the negative effects that the combat had on the units. In the pitch, the inspirations for the core gameplay design were a combination of Commandos, XCOM, and Darkest Dungeon. Now the core gameplay loop more closely resembles a combination of StarCraft 2 and Dawn of War 2 with callbacks to Darkest Dungeon.
The gameplay in Operation Phantasm is fast-paced and tactical, yet still manages to capture aspects of the genre that we believed were essential to a player's usability and enjoyment. We did make it a point to add enough novelty to create an experience that is different from the massive library of real-time tactics games out there today. The player's key focus is to quickly and intelligently maneuver units through encounters of increasing complexity and difficulty. The player can command their units en masse or individually. Each unit has a unique ability that synergizes with the group as a whole and counters enemy strengths. These abilities include a grenade that delivers devastating first strikes against enemies and in some cases the environment, a stun ability that is used to stop large groups of advancing units, a buff ability that increases both health regeneration and movement speed of nearby teammates, which allows you to quickly get out of the way of danger, and finally, a mine that continuously damages large groups of enemies within its radius. In addition to the abilities, a unit's most valuable asset is his courage. If a unit is exposed to too many enemies for an extended amount of time, his courage will fail. Once a unit has lost all courage, they will either run in terror, refuse to cast their ability, faint, or even see phantoms of the surrounding enemies. To prevent fear effects, the player must keep their units moving while at the same time utilizing the cover system, for it is crucial to success in Operation Phantasm.
One huge challenge we faced during development was the need to convey large amounts of information to the player. Real-time tactics games are already inherently hard to play. As originally designed, the need to manage a mental system, control 5 characters, utilize 10 different abilities, and fight against 11 different enemy types was consistently proven as too hard to handle. To overcome this challenge, we tested, analyzed, cut, iterated as often as possible. Not being afraid to simplify, change, or cut any design element was key to overcoming this challenge.
Moving into the next month, we decided to look heavily into playtest feedback. From this feedback, we decided to make an important choice to focus more on the quality of the content that we're creating instead of the quantity. We made one last effort to clarify the complex mental system before coming up with the current system that we have now. In our current system, the player's sanity is measured in courage as opposed to fear and delusion.
Iteration is at the core of game development. We continuously cut, amended, and added to the system's mechanics and features of Operation Phantasm based on player feedback and continuous critical analysis of the overall state of the production. The development of the game's tech was purposely done in a modular fashion with the intention of making the design of the game as nimble and adaptive as possible. We knew we only had a few months of development time and needed to make the most of every sprint. There are many positive aspects to the development of Operation Phantasm up to this point. However, there are a few things that could have been improved upon earlier, one being the double-edged sword that was the high-impact strategy we used. Yes, a lot of progress was made each milestone, but the impact of each of those changes was harder to measure as a result. The second thing is crunch. Our team crunched, and it crunched very hard early in development. A lot of late nights right before the deadlines of milestones led to decreased productivity overall. About halfway through the development cycle of Operation Phantasm, our team put an end to the perpetual crunch that had consumed us up to that point. This was a decision made because it had not just become an efficiency issue at that point, it had become a health issue. The result of this change was increased efficiency, increased standard of living, and an overall better game.
Looking back on the development process, there are a few key skills that we picked up along the way. One of the most important skills would certainly be the ability to dissect playtest feedback in order to gain insight upon and address the root cause of player issues. We also increased our technical skills through learning of advanced coding techniques, which more efficiently enabled our creativity and empowered our design process. The final and perhaps most important skill we learned was the art of cutting aspects of a design while maintaining the core idea and feel of the original design. As a designer, it is important to not get too attached to any one aspect of a design. This lesson helped us immensely in improving the overall design and implementation of Operation Phantasm.